Welcome to Base Space, a crypto podcast. Base Space.
Yes, welcome everyone. I also pinned a promotional tweet at the top of the space. Feel free to share that out.
Okay.
Try and get as many folks to join us as possible. But for those that are listening on YouTube or Spotify, welcome. This is a crypto podcast hosted by myself, the Crypto Mewtwo, Chase Coins, and Super High, and we focus on creating opportunities for growth, networking, and education in the crypto industry. Today we have the honor of having Jeremiah, CMO of RLY Network Association. Welcome to the show, Jeremiah. We're pumped to have you on.
Thank you. Pumped to be here.
Yeah, I know earlier you were starting to dive into it, like how you kind of got into the space and into crypto. Like, what was your first exposure to Bitcoin? I'd assume you're an early Bitcoin adopter.
Sort of, kind of. Like several years ago, I was like Bitcoin hashing off a service, but I think there's like many of the people, I lost those coins. I don't want to even calculate it what it would be worth now. That's just being mean to yourself. But I didn't really jump in until like the end of 2020, like getting curious into it as my career. And I caught up with my long-term friend, Kevin Chu, who is the founder of Rally.io. Formerly, he built and sold Kabam Gaming Networks, $1 billion. And then he moved into the blockchain space. And I said, Kevin, what are you working on? And he said, I'm working on crypto for social media. And I said, oh, that's great. Let's go. And since we already knew each other, I joined the board of advisors and I started to recruit creators in Clubhouse and elsewhere to launch their own coins on Rally.io. And that just grew. And then eventually there was an expansion announced, and we can go into that later, called the RLY Network. And I'm part of the association in the middle of that. Yeah.
That's awesome, man. That's so cool. And like, just generally, how has the process been for you, like reaching out to influencers and people that are doing social media full time? Like, what has that experience been like, talking to someone about social tokens for the first time?
Yeah, so I started to bring on influencers in early 2021, and brought in around 30 influencers and creators from like the faces of Clubhouse, like when it was red hot, like the people who their faces were on the app, like those people. And then also podcasters and bloggers and authors and YouTubers. And then the other parts of the team brought on streamers, video gamers, athletes, and there's just a number of folks. And you know, I remember trying to explain it in the early days, and we'd have to have 2 to 3 calls to explain like what it is. But then something happened, and then people started to request it. Now there's like many people requesting a coin because something happened about spring and summer in 2021 where crypto just became red hot. I think all of us know that. So it's a lot easier now to talk about it. Fidelity, the traditional companies, Visa, Instagram, Facebook, Microsoft, Amazon, they're all in the space now.
Yeah, absolutely. I guess like for those that aren't even familiar like with Rally, could you kind of give like a high level overview of what Rally is all about?
Sure. All right. So there's a couple of different components here. So Rally.io was the first project, and essentially we had some product market fit with 300 creators now have their own coins. Not all of them are active. There's a good percentage that are very successful with their coin. Some of them have built multi-million-dollar economies with their own token just around their own community. We can dive into that in a bit. And that was like the first instance. And then we realized, okay, we need to spread this to other apps as well. It's worth noting that Rally.io, when it was started in 2020, launched on an Ethereum sidechain. And the reason is many Web2 creators who was part of the target market, their audiences were not crypto savvy. They didn't have MetaMask wallets. They certainly weren't they didn't have a Phantom wallet. So they needed to purchase the coins with credit card transactions, and they were not ready to use mainnet and certainly didn't want to deal with Ethereum gas fees, especially with like very fast and frequent transactions of small amounts. So the Rally.io started on Ethereum sidechain on Forte, and Forte was an earlier project. And that made a lot of sense for 2019, 2020, and then moving into 2021. So in August 2021, which is about, I don't know, 6, 7 months ago, it was announced that Rally would expand, and that was called the decentralization. Actually, there's some people here in the room that are leaders in that as well. Michael. And so there's 5 different groups now. So Rallies.io is one, continuing forward. And then we also spun up a Asian version using the same architecture on the Forte sidechain for Asia market. That's called Unite.io. And there's a number of athletes and gamers and streamers and artists and some celebrities, and they're called key influencers in Asia that are on Unite.io. And that team's run out of Shanghai. Then we also launched the Super Layer Ventures, which is run by Kevin and Mahesh, which were the original founders, and they're spinning out numerous apps. I can talk about those in detail, but one of them they have is called Talkie, which is Twitter app with tokens. So I don't know the last time Twitter paid you guys for hosting a space or tweeting some viral tweet. I haven't been paid squat. I don't think anybody has, but imagine that you are interacting with Twitter or Facebook or YouTube, and you're actually getting paid for the work that you're doing, for the IP, for the knowledge. So that's what Talkie is doing. Get Talkie. Another app they have is called Hotline. And do you remember when OnlyFans kicked off adult performers and creators in the middle of the pandemic for God knows what reason, stupid reason, and those workers were not able to generate revenue? Well, that's not right, and they are workers and they're making a living, especially during a hard time. So Hotline, and by the way, these are third-party entrepreneurs that work with a venture studio, and then they spin out as their own companies, right? So it's that's the relationship, and they get to work with Kevin and Mahesh. So Hotline is social tokens for adult performers. Yeah, people who create pornography, and they're part of the internet and the ecosystem. It's just this is something of the fabric of the internet. And there's another project by another entrepreneur called Gambit. Have you ever played fantasy sports where you pick your players, whether it's NFL, NBA, or MLB, and then you build your dream team, right? And you can play against your friends, right? So now you can earn tokens, and they're using also the RLY Protocol. So that's super layer, and there's over a dozen projects that are coming live now, and it's just continuing to grow. And there's funding for each of some of those projects are getting their own funding. Super layer itself gets its own funding. It's a separate entity. The next group, and Amin's here in the room, is the RLY Ecosystem DAO, which is 7 amazing leaders that are native to Web3, and they are helping to grow the RLY ecosystem. They attend events, they do hackathons, they lead hackathons, and they're also identifying Web3 startups, early stage startups, to fund with grants. And so they have budget, and they have a way they can vote and determine and self-organize. Certainly lower investment amounts require fewer votes. And then for the higher dollar amounts in RLY token, there's more votes required. And so they're self-sufficient to run in that way. And we partner on things when it makes sense, like co-sponsoring events. Okay. The last group is my group, and we're really supporting decentralization. We're a multi-chain protocol. We're on Ethereum to start with. We have an Ethereum sidechain too, but now we're also on Solana on mainnet, and we're exploring some other chains as well. You could probably suggest some chains. I'm sure you guys know. I've seen some of your backgrounds. And so we have Rally as an ERC20, but also S-Rally, which is Solana coin as well. RLY Protocol is multi-chain, as mentioned. It's permissionless, so anybody can grab the code on GitHub, and there's 3 steps to launch your own token economy. And any developer who's in the room or entrepreneur that wants to do that, you can quickly grab the code and add a token to your consumer app. Hey, Jesse just walked in. Like, so let's just say, so I know Jesse, he has a DAO, the Good Work DAO. If he wanted to launch a token for his DAO or for any, of the projects there for artists, they can spin up a token using the RLY protocol. And we really want to help smaller economies grow. And so one of the challenges with smaller economies, and I think this room understands, is there's no liquidity, right? If you look at the DEXs and the centralized exchanges, they're operating at millions, if not billions of dollars of trades, and the liquidity pools are very large. So what do you do when it's a small NFT project? What do you do if it's a local DAO? What if you do if it's a brand new consumer game? What do you do if it's a small little social network? Well, we enable developers to launch their own tokens and nested tokens. So you could, like, for example, launch the Good Work DAO and then have subcoins as well, and subcoins under that. Secondly, we have a number of token bonding curves. So if you're not familiar with token bonding curves, this makes it easy for any token, regardless of the size of the economy, to understand its pricing. So you instantly know pricing. A token bonding curve is a mathematical formula where it instantly tells you if X amount of coins is purchased by the market, the price is automatically Y. And the more tokens that are purchased, then the higher the price. And so there's 3 different curves you can choose from as a developer. Now, that also means you can liquidate the coins. You can swap them for the Rally or Solana Rally, S Rally, and then that can go straight into your wallet. So it provides immediate liquidity. And the last thing, and then I'll love your feedback, I'll stop talking in just a second, is we also offer Rally rewards. So you are familiar with staking or dividends, right? Or sharing the wealth. Rally rewards is a way for developers to quickly earn Rally tokens very quickly. And we have 1 million Rally designated for the bootstrap phase of a token, the early stages, so you can get some instant cash flow, and the developer can choose to use that to grow their app, or they could share it with their community, like the creators. It's up to them how they want to do that. Okay, so long story. The RLY ecosystem is growing. I'm part of the association, which is a nonprofit. We have the RLY Protocol. Anybody can launch their own token economy with our bit. I would love to get your feedback. What do you think?
Definitely a lot to unpack, but and thank you for that explanation. I guess my next question would be, what is the vetting process for someone to be able to launch their own token?
Vetting process is nothing. You go ahead and go for it. It's permissionless. Everybody can do it on their own.
Sweet. And then I guess I had another question right after that. Could you explain what the bonded tokens and the sub tokens are? A little bit more in depth.
Got it. So we have, of course, our ERC20 and our Solana token, SPL, the RLY tokens. And then you can create your own sub token. So who is asking that question?
That was super high.
Okay, so you can create a super high token right now, if you are able to, if you know Rust. And you can create sub tokens under super high. You can create a super low token, right? You can create super low token underneath that. And for whatever reasons that you wanted to, you could have nested tokens, and that's included in the code.
Could you give me an example of like the use case for a nested token?
For sure. We were just talking today, I was speaking with a European telecom company in Palo Alto. They have an office. And they are working with a broadcast network, like a TV network. And that TV network each has individual shows. Well, that telecom company could have their own token. And then the broadcast network, think ABC or CBS or MTV like we do, could have their own token. And underneath that, each show could have their own token. And because they're nested, there are some economic benefits to the higher coin, the parent coin, if you will. There's like a roll-up effect. And swapping can happen up and down the chain or laterally side to side. There's ways you can make it easy to swap those tokens.
Super, you gonna say something? Oh, I think we lost him.
Uh-oh, he got roped.
Yeah, you got roped. I see you, Super. You might need to drop off, brother. It's not letting me add you. Disconnect and come back in. but no, that's super interesting. Like in terms of like the nested tokens and how those work, so you can interchange and swap the sub tokens for the primary token. I'm still like kind of confused on like the benefit, I guess, of doing that. Is it like, what in your mind, like what's the benefit of having like this swapping capability, be able to swap, show for show, where the network for the network token?
That's probably not, it's probably not as common to swap a child coin to a child coin. I don't think that's going to be as common as a use case. You'll probably swap it up for the network token going up to the parent. That's probably more common.
So is it almost like you would be swapping for payments, or like what do you envision like that
Gotcha.
swapping capability being used for?
Yeah, let's go up a level. So I gave you a lot of like technical information, but what are the benefits of a token economy? All right, so now let's get into like, let's talk about values. Let's talk about like why all of this. So as we're sitting here on a Web2 platform, right? Twitter is now owned by billionaires, funded by billionaires. You were tracking the news, and before that, it was owned by billionaires. The users have not benefited. Sure, yeah, we are connecting to each other, but financially, we're missing out. Secondly, we're not governing. Like we have no say, unless you're a shareholder, on who gets to purchase Twitter, and or can they allow which political figures and what type of speech or content is allowed. And so the people who are actually contributing the value of the content really do not have much power or upside. So in a token economy, the goal is to spread the wealth and the ability for them to govern if you so choose, and they have a share in the upside. So the people themselves, by owning the token, the participants have more power. And that is, of course, the broader ethos of Web3. And token economies enable websites and apps to have aligned incentives with their community. And really, that's the benefit of token economies, is aligned incentives. Now, the tokens can, now how do people get the tokens? They can earn them by participating. They can purchase them with fiat or crypto, or maybe they're staked in a way, which is a form of loyalty and earning. They can redeem them for perks. Those perks could be, goods, services, or experiences. And we know that NFT projects are very good at doing this, the ones that are successful. You can also offer perks for people who hold your coin. And when tokens are held, the total locked value, the economy stays high and everybody benefits. So I just wanted to give that context on why token economies. Thank you for asking that.
Hey, Jeremiah, I'm actually curious, like how do you see these social economies being integrated into DeFi? Like I know you kind of touched on LPing and you
Yep.
have the bonding curve, but kind of going beyond that, like do you see kind of entire borrowing and lending protocol integrations happening for these types of communities, or what do you kind of see playing out in that regard?
Yeah, that's a great question. So I think of it as two circles with some overlap, like a Venn. So certainly the DeFi market is related, and Rally RLY and S-Rally is on numerous dexes, such as Orca and Radium, and on centralized exchanges like Coinbase and others as well. And and it's being traded, and people are holding it. And there are some Rally vaults that exist for APYs as well. So there is a DeFi component for sure. Secondly, there is the social token aspect, which is kind of where we're playing. And sometimes that's called a utility token, where I mentioned that the coins can be held or can be redeemed for goods, services, or experiences. And a utility token could pass the SEC framework called the Howey test, whether or not it is a security or not. And the Howey test from the US federal government looks to see if it is a securities or a utility token. So some of the tokens that are being launched from the RLY ecosystem are absolutely utility tokens. And then there's this kind of third mixture in between, where there are certainly speculative buyers and retail investors that are purchasing social tokens, and some of them in the past have worked together to like get a creator coin to go high, and sometimes they will exit that. So we see similar behaviors as you see in the DeFi market. So it's not immune from that at all, but there is utility that the fans can use as well.
Yeah, that's super interesting. And I guess my other question is, if a creator wants to create these coins, I assume the status quo is that they're all fungible. But is there an ability to where, say, a creator wanted to create a potential like NFT collection, if you will, and they wanted to make
Yeah,
say 1,000 tokens that are actually not fungible? Is that possible?
totally. Yes. So our flagship product, RLY.io, does have NFT capability to publish and also a marketplace on RLY.io. And it's all a beautiful experience, all contained, gasless, there's no fees. There's instant redemption with creator coins to purchase NFTs, and that's already built into that system. We also have other projects on the network on Solana mainnet, such as outside.io, which is the traditional outdoors magazine, which is 60 years old. It's one of our partners, and they have an NFT offering, and they are working with SuperLayer and will hopefully launch a RLY token as well. So that will be integrated there. So we one of the areas that we would love to partner is with NFT projects that want a social token. As you know, ApeCoin is one of the first examples of a NFT community from Yuga Labs that launched it, and they built a whole ecosystem. Their partner Sandbox and Animoca, it's the same company, is using the ApeCoin for their games. So they're building a broader ecosystem. So we want NFT collections to grab the RLY protocol and launch their own token for their own from their own NFT project.
Yeah, are you seeing also like a lot of music artists and things of that nature gravitating towards these tokens? Like especially like I could see like upcoming artists using this as almost like a quote unquote way to like reward, early fans and incentivize those fans to even start promoting them, right, in their work.
Yeah, great question. Let's talk about Portugal the Man, and that is do you know their song?
I'm not familiar.
I'll play it for you in a minute. So they have their own token called the PTM token, and that is on RLY.io. And there's some other music artists as well that also have tokens within the network as well, and they're using it in a number of ways. So one of the things that they do, here's their song, you'll recognize it. You know that one?
Oh yeah, I know this song.
All right, so they have the PTM token, and they were covered in Rolling Stones, one of the first bands that have their own token. And there's a couple of things. So again, there's two major business strategies. One is to hold the coin for perks. The second is redemption. So if you hold the coin, you get access to their premium Discord server, and our third-party partners built a Discord bot, so it does a wallet check with the RLY API, and if the PTM coins at the right quantity is in your wallet, then it grants you access to specific channels in the Discord. I think we've done that with Telegram as well, and we're exploring other communities. So we're as crypto is programmable money. It's not just the same as fiat. That's one thing that the market needs to know. It's programmable. It can have built-in logic. So if you hold X amount of PTM coins, you can also get the newsletter. Friends with Benefits does the same things. And you could also redeem the coin for merch, access to songs, and even to get to their concerts. We've also had artists as well do this to get into their physical galleries. So there's no limit to what an artist or a creator can do. One thing that we think about in economic design, though, is when an artist or an influencer is asked over and over, "Hey, can you do this for me? But can you do me a favor? Can you do this?" That should be tokenized. That should be something for a creator to be easily just to redeem it.
Yeah, something that just popped into my head too is like, since it is publicly available, it's almost like you have proof that you are an early fan and that you are an early supporter, right? Because you always get those people that is like, oh yeah, I've been supporting you forever, blah blah blah. But like, where's the real proof? And like,
Who's the real fan? That's right.
yeah,
And we've had some creators that actually built in wallet analysis and connected it to a CRM. So they know like the email addresses and the names of their real fans. And they're able to,
yeah, that's super sick.
right. You can email them. They do airdrops to their top fans. They let them have access to a whitelist for an NFT drop. Like the token truly indicates what is fandom.
Yeah, that's super interesting because it gives that level of granularity on like just multiple fronts. And I feel like it improves the user experience overall, just holistically when you're engaging with artists.
One other thing too, right? This changes the relationship, right, between fans and a creator. It's almost as if the fans are now, in a way, bonded, like financially bonded too, right? Because they own a piece of the equity of that economy. And it also means that the creator lets a lot of that economy go to their fans, which they can use. There's a DJ named DJ Jaws. He lets his fans vote on which song should be in his playlist, but you have to own his coin. You have to hold it. So you can use it for co-innovation as well. You also mentioned that point, like who your earliest fans are. Well, if you were the first person to purchase the PTM Portugal Demand coin, you probably got it at its lowest value. And at one point, their coin was, I think, like $50. And so you need X amount of coins to get in the Discord. So you benefit. Plus the staking, the rally rewards. So when the coin's growing, you as the fan can, in some cases, no promises, can't speculate, but could earn quite a bit just from the rally rewards by being an early fan.
I'm curious, like, just to kind of take the flip side of this and think about, what could occur. Like, what are some of the cons of tying someone's kind of like financial well-being as a fan to someone that they like follow as like an artist, and you're kind of transitioning from this I consume your content and I pay for it to where now it's like I have a financial stakeholder in everything you do and produce in your career. Like, do you think there are any like kind of drawbacks or like potential issues down the line that could arise from that?
Sure. Um, of course. There could be misaligned expectations. Secondly, if the creator didn't feel like a token economy was great for them and they leave, they might upset those relationships. I mean, you look at the Zuki stuff that happened today, right? People were upset, misaligned expectations all across the board with those NFT projects that were abandoned. So, those are some of the risks. Um, yeah, I think those are all, things to consider. Also, the creator could be upset if the fans, sold off their tokens or something like that and caused the economy to hurt. And there's a risk if it's not really correctly aligned for the long term, it could start to look transactional, and that may not be good. So some of the top bands, like we also have Megadeth has their own coin. I mean, I think they're using their band manager. We have esports teams as well, and they have their team manager managing the coin. So in a way, it's functioning as part of the business to alleviate any of the potential, relationship issues that could arise.
Yeah, no, I think that's a really good point. I'm really kind of going down the Black Mirror route here, but I worry about that, and especially if you add, there may be perps that come out against creator economies, and with cancel culture, people could kind of try to create false allegation against people to kind of capture that downside move for a creator's economy. But I know it's kind of like Black Mirror thought, but I'm just just my gears are kind of turning of like what this looks like at scale and adopted by tens of millions, hundreds of millions of people. And I'm actually curious,
Yeah.
like, what does that grand vision look like for you? Like, what does this look like whenever you have hundreds of millions or possibly even a billion plus people engaging in these kind of communities?
Mm-hmm. Well, that's kind of that is kind of the goal for RLY Protocol and the network is so that, this is the token economy for consumer apps. And we obviously want to see healthy growth for that. It is kind of weird seeing yesterday, Instagram announcing that they're going to launch NFTs this week, but that's also a blessing, right? Because they're going to help educate the mainstream market. And we'll see if they do it right. Something tells me they won't, but we'll see what happens. I'm hopeful that they will educate the masses for everybody. I do think that all of this is about helping apps and the internet to be more aligned. So the people that are creating content, and I've been a content creator, God, for 20 years. Yeah, that's sad. Yeah, so in many cases, we use these platforms for reach and distribution, but somebody else profits, and I don't have a say in the direction of these apps that I've poured my life into. I think we can build a better internet, and this could be one of the tools that could be part of that story.
Is there any like obscure like projects that are using this? I know we talked about like music artists, gaming. Is there anything that like really surprised you that's taken off as like a social token that you wouldn't have thought of before?
Yeah, so I briefly mentioned Hotline. Let's talk about that. So Hotline and the URL, and they're looking for creators now, is for adult performers to have their own token. And to remind, let's go back up on this story. OnlyFans a few years ago cut off monetization for some creators right in the middle of the pandemic, which is devastating to those people that are professional creators and creating adult content. And the opportunity here, and the entrepreneur of this project, who is part of the Superlayer Venture Studio, that we have entrepreneurs that come in and they launch, and then they go out and launch their companies and get funding. He's worked in the adult online space for a while. He worked at redtube.com, and a very smart entrepreneur, and he wants to empower creators to have control over their own monetization. And it's the same story we just talked about with Portugal the Man or Megadeth or gamers or streamers, right? Or people on Twitter. People that are contributing their lives and creating content online, but don't have an upside and can't control what happens. They have no governance. So that is a pretty wild idea to think about how that could be used. We're looking for partners in the metaverse who have a metaverse app or a metaverse parcel or land that want to launch a token. We would love to partner with them, and maybe we can help them in some different ways. That would be really fun project to work on.
Jeremiah, real quick, that kind of just spun up an idea. What kind of grants are available to support devs that maybe would want to build a metaverse for y'all or in conjunction with that?
Sure.
What is like the process of applying for that?
Amin, maybe you can come up on stage. He's part of the RLY Ecosystem DAO, and he actually has grants for early stage startups. Can you try to pull him up?
Yeah, I just sent him a request.
Cool. I'd love to hear from him. Okay, so we have 3 different ways to get grants. So RLY Ecosystem DAO, we'll let him speak about that process. We also have Rally.io, who has done grants for third parties to integrate into Rally.io, and that's the creator coins. And they have funded dozens of projects, and I already talked about one, like the Discord bot integration. And there's a third way, is my group, the RLY Network Association, has grants for larger social networks or games that probably have 100,000 users, and those grants start at $1 million US in RLY token. However, we don't really advertise the grants because we want people to use the RLY rewards. So if the economy is growing, then you automatically get rewards. So that's, again, aligned incentives. As you know, sometimes with grants, it doesn't always work out. Like, it's a product market misfit, or somebody might take the money and like change directions. It's not always a good thing. Grants don't always fit. So instead, we want to provide the rewards. If your app is growing and the token's growing, you're going to get the RLY rewards if all the approvals happen. Okay, so I don't think Amin is coming up, I guess. But I believe, and we'll have to double check on the website, on the wiki, but I think that their grants are 10K to I think 100K, if not higher. That's what I just recall, but I'm going to defer to that team. I could be incorrect, but at least you get a sense of the scope. And that's in USD of Rally token.
And as far as like metaverses that you would want, or Rally Association would want to partner with, are you looking at like Decentraland or Sandbox? Or are you looking at more of like NFT metaverses? What's kind of
Probably pretty open. We are multi-chain, so but we're on Ethereum and Solana, so that's probably where I'd want to start on those. But we're going to be on other chains as well.
Are tokens also able to be stable coins, or are they always dynamic?
They're dynamic as far as I know.
Okay. Yeah, I was just curious if it was possible, as Chase was talking about, people trying to like manipulate the market or do something like that. I wonder if a stable coin would be more
I mean,
interesting.
that is a bigger crypto topic. Today the Tether news came out, right? So yeah, that's just a whole nother topic.
Yeah, 100%. Crazy news with Tether that's going on in the space right now. So
Yep.
it's pretty wild to see. I mean, I think you touched on like the censorship aspect of this, and that's interesting as well. With like adult, I guess, performers and things like that getting censored. And even in general, like people on social media, on Twitter, unfortunately, get censored pretty regularly. With what they can do or what they can say or their accounts and so forth. Curious, like, are you planning to allow are you working with any type of like WordPress plugins or e-commerce stores to like allow them to like easily integrate right with these tokens?
So it's permissionless. Anybody can grab it. So if, Shopify wants to grab the token and use it, awesome. We definitely, we don't have any barriers for anybody to go and develop. A Microsoft developer DM'd me last night and they said, "Hey, I launched a token. I'm not a Rust developer, but it took me 2 hours, but I was able to do it." Versus Solana developers who do no Rust, they're able to launch in 30 minutes. So it's not too challenging to get a token economy up and going, including with the token bonding curves that we talked about for instant liquidity. So those folks are those you mentioned e-commerce, and I think you said like WordPress. Yeah, I mean, I would reach out to those communities if they wanted to do it. I'm happy to connect to them, or if they wanted to chat. Happy to do that. I think that would be a great fit.
Yeah, kind of building off Mitsu's question, could you expand on that example of how somebody integrated their CRM
Yep.
with the token or with Rally? Like, what are all the possibilities there? Is that just through like a simple API plugin or what?
Yes. So in this case, this creator already had a deep relationship with the people that were purchasing his coin and tokens. And so he already had a number of ways for people to redeem and get airdrops, which he would collect information, all opt in, of course. And then he would build into his HubSpot. He had records of social accounts, and then he was also able to willingly get people to share their wallet address so he can give them airdrops, and he was able to glue that data together. And so he can continue to reward them and keep them engaged and loyal.
Wow, like that that's honestly so impressive. Talk about somebody who's like tip of the spear in terms of being a creator and engaging with their fans. That's like really awesome
Yes.
to
And that
to hear.
that creator has one of the largest market caps in the network, as you might imagine. That creator has a team of developers, is data focused, and is a great community manager and communicator. So like all of the things that is like kind of required to make a token economy work. And by the way, this is not a like a 2, 3, 4 hour thing, right? It's like this is your business. This is your business model, right? So this person took it quite seriously because it is their livelihood.
So is there kind of like a I don't want to use the term IDO or ICO, but let's just say, like, is there like an initial chance to gain access or exposure to a utility token from a creator? Like, how does that work? Is it all just on the open market? And then also, can they change the tokenomics after the fact of once
Uh-huh.
it's initially set up?
So, and again, the token can be used for games, right? Social networks or creator economy, any consumer app. And so in any of those developers or creators, they can, announce to their community that a token's coming. And there was one celebrity that did that, and they got their market very excited, including speculative investors, as you might imagine. And so they turned it into, the way you would launch something like any other product. Now, changing the economies later, it is possible to change token bonding curves, but it's incredibly challenging and difficult. So I don't know of us actually doing that. However, we have um, one or we have some methods for people to leave the Ethereum sidechain and go to Solana mainnet. There was a project that did that. So in a way that is shifting to a whole nother chain, and technically you could potentially change to a different token bonding curve, but it would probably be really messy because they don't exactly line up.
Gotcha. And say there's a DApp or particular service that's using
Mhm.
Rally, and they offered say there's 1 million tokens in circulation. Does that would that token that you buy through the Rally protocol, would that be the governance token as well, or is that that's up to the developer, creator, whoever that sets those parameters when they initially set it up? Does that make sense? I'm
Yeah,
just trying to
gotcha.
like get an idea, and also of like, say there's a DApp that's generating revenue, right? Like let's say somebody creates, I think you'd use the example earlier of I can't remember the name, but the Twitter
Yeah,
and
talkie.
Taki, yeah. So, does owning the tokens through Taki, does that give you an ownership of like revenue that DApp is generating? Does that give you ownership of, governance? Yeah,
Yep. So we leave it up to the developer to decide where, the protocol is permissionless. They can choose how they want to set up governance. They can choose how they want to set up rewards. We let them do what's best because they should care about the long-term sustainability of their community. So obviously we have a point of view, but we're not going to dictate, and there's no way for us to like control or, regulate any of that. So to answer your question, obviously Rally and S Rally are mainnet coins, and you can buy and trade them. And the developers, when their app is growing, they receive Rally rewards. They receive Rally token or S Rally into their mainnet wallet, right? So that's all mainnet. Their sub tokens are contained usually within their DApp or their app, and those usually sit within there. In many cases, not all, those subtokens could are sometimes in custodial wallets that are built into the app. The main reason is to avoid gas fees because it's all being done in that independent app. However, the users often can swap that subtoken for the Rally or S Rally token and bridge out, or it's already in their main wallet. So there's many ways that they can do it. There's a variation from custodial to non-custodial for customer experience, and there is mainnet to sidechain. There's a number of variations. Again, the main reason is for clean customer experience and, when possible, reducing gas fees, which are already low in Solana. Now, regarding governance, it is up to the app developer to choose how they want to allow that governance. In the particular of Rally.io, there is a council of creators that get to choose who the next creators are, along with some staff. And there's a developer council, which includes developers and creators, who choose which apps get funded and grants. And so you can see how that's kind of, decentralized in that way, and they already have a stake in it. And regarding the revenue aspect, we leave that up to the developer to choose how they want to share the rally rewards, if they earn it, and it's up to them. Obviously, our point of view is align incentives for long-term growth. Good question.
Hey Jeremiah, what developments like should people be looking out for within the next year or so with Rally? Curious to hear like what's upcoming on the roadmap.
Sure, nothing I can like officially announce. We definitely have more features coming, but certainly we're going to be on more chains. We're chain agnostic, multi-chain. So, let me know where the heat is. We're already evaluating a few, and we will go into those other locations, of course. Rally Protocol itself is pretty simple. It's just three major features. We want to keep it pretty simple. We just want to make it easy for token economies to launch, and have instant liquidity and earn rewards. We want to keep it pretty simple. Let's talk about the team. So I am 9 weeks in to the role. Also, there's a COO that was hired, my colleague Guggen, and he comes from Dapper Labs. And so the two of us are the first business folks on the team. Making an offer tomorrow for a head of marketing, integrated marketing, and we're hiring a developer relations lead, and we'll eventually hire a head of partnerships as well. And so that'll be the business team. There's already several folks on the product side. So that's kind of like our core team at the RLY Network Association.
That's amazing. You must be really excited to be part of this kind of rapid expansion that the company is seeing. It's super cool, man.
Thank you. Yeah, it's fun. I did not even expect that this was an opportunity. They opened up this opportunity for me, and I was just delighted. Didn't never expect. By the way, I've been an entrepreneur for a decade and longer, 12 years actually. So I was not expecting to take on a full-time position, but here we are.
Let's go. I guess I'll, near the end of these convos, we sometimes allow like audience members and stuff to come up if they want to ask a question to you. Are you down for that? I know we
Of
have a few people
course.
down there. Hey, if anyone in the audience wants to come on, just request. We'll let you guys up one at a time, and don't be shy. We don't bite. But Jeremiah, I appreciate you just like taking the time out to come and speak with us today and educate us about Rally. I've been a huge
Yeah,
proponent
but
of the project.
I want to hear from you guys. Like, what do you think? You guys talk to a lot of amazing
Yeah.
projects. You guys are in the space. Love to hear your honest thoughts, even if there's areas that we need to be careful or watch out for.
I think for me personally, like disclaimer, I am a big investor in this project. I think I love the simplicity and the approach that you guys are taking, and obviously, like the core team and other investors are very diverse in terms of working in the entertainment space, so you understand what you're getting into. So I'm pretty excited about social tokens and what it means, to give back to creators, to invest in creators, and like I was talking about earlier, just even be like, hey, like I'm an actual true fan. I was like first 100, 100 fans to be there for you, and also just experience that growth, right? Like you almost turn your fans into your business partners, and they become advocates, and I think it could lead to really cool networking opportunities that just aren't even available today to like the everyday fan. So I'm super excited about it, man.
Cool. And don't forget, we're expanding right into any consumer app, gaming, metaverse, social networks. So we definitely want to have more case examples out there. You also brought up investors. I forgot to mention, our lead investor is Andreessen Horowitz and Coinbase Ventures, the founders of Twitch, Canaan Ventures. So it is a really good set backing of the project.
Yeah, I think it's a super interesting use case, and I think it's it's early for the narratives that we're seeing, especially if you live in the crypto Twitter bubble. I think like a service like this, yes, you'll have it's like that Venn diagram. You're talking about Jeremiah earlier. I think there's that Venn diagram overlap with CT and Rally, but I really do think that this is something that is moving this technology forward, but that user adoption is not the current existing members that we see in crypto or Web3. I think the bulk of the adoption that Rally's targeting and the various dApps and creator economies that could spring up or from the people that are not in crypto right now. So I think that's one of the largest challenges is moving to acquire that market share with this product. So it's going to be like a really interesting to see that adoption play out. And as we move in from this like crypto Twitter world to like this web, like true Web3 world, where we have circular economies and sharing economies, and we have this granularity of tracking and the ability to, reward loyal fans or users and revenue share. Like it's really interesting. It's very interesting.
Yeah, great points. I agree, and I agree that it's early. That's a wonderful insight. Thank you, Chase.
Yeah, I'm gonna say +2 to both what Mewtwo and Chase said, and I want to add that I think it's really important that, like you said, you are blockchain agnostic, because in the future, I mean, people that aren't already in Twitter, they'll just set up any random wallet, right? And they may not know what chain they're on. They shouldn't have to worry what chain they're on if they want to spin up their own token or buy Rally. So I think it's really important that you guys are on multiple chains, if not all chains.
Amen to that.
Yeah, and I've talked about this before in some other spaces, but I think in the future, all that complexity of, I'm on Solana, I'm on ETH, I'm on Avalanche, I'm on Matic, whatever it may be. I really do think that all that is just going to be abstracted away in the future, and you're going to be on the chain that the developer wants you to be on at the end of the day, and whatever user interface you're
100%.
using. Yeah, it's just all going to be abstracted away, and we the language that we use and the jargon that we use, and we talk about, oh, you gotta bridge over, you gotta take your money and bridge it over, and then but make sure you're doing the right bridge, or make sure you have the right RPC set, whatever it may be. It's just not
Yeah,
practical.
it's not great for the mainstream at all. And until that's solved, we have problems. I know there's projects working at layer 0 on that, but I'd remind like 30, 40 years ago, email systems would not talk to each other. So can you imagine that? Or SMS systems, you couldn't text people on a different network. Like, can you just imagine that? So same thing.
We're early, Jeremiah. We're early.
We're so early. Isn't that such the motto, meme, motif?
But with that being said, with the current landscape of things, while we are waiting for that solution to be here, I feel like a natural extension for you guys is like Avalanche. I don't know if you guys have looked at that, but if you're asking for feedback on other
Yeah.
chains and stuff like that, I think Avalanche, out of the majors, I think they seem to be kind of the best position and one of the best teams in the space from what I've seen and followed. And in terms of like DeFi, I use Ethereum and I use Avalanche right now. So that just kind of, I think, speaks to the level of trust I have in those chains. And that's no shade to any other chains at all. It's just where I feel most comfortable having my money parked.
Great insight. Noted.
Hey, welcome to the stage, Mike. Saw you popped in.
Hey, Jeremiah, I really appreciate the insight
Hey, Mike.
into the landscape of the creator economy. You briefly mentioned about the telecom European telecom company in terms of tokenization. Can you shed a bit more light into some of the business use cases that you guys have seen in your network?
Sure. So big companies have not really adopted token economies yet. There's a whole bunch of reasons why, and I'm sure you can figure that out. It's highly regulated. They're slow. They don't know how to use it. They might already have existing ways they're interacting with their customers, or their market's not ready. But there is one retailer called Z Gallery that is using the RLY token, and they have used it instead of loyalty points. So when you shop on their website, and they sell furniture, by the way, very modern, contemporary furniture, you can earn the Z Gold token. And like I talked about earlier, the business model, if you hold the coin, you get access to premium content. And I believe they have like a service where they will do home decor, like on a Zoom call or something like that, if you hold a certain number of tokens, which is the same thing as like, a loyal member earning points, like United Airlines or credit card with Amex points, right? And then you could also redeem the tokens for discounts or other things as well, or services. So it's a very simple way. Now, just to remind, you're probably going, well, why don't I just use loyalty points? Why don't I just use fiat dollars? Crypto is different in a couple different ways. Number one, it's your own branded economy, and brands love to have their own brand, especially tokens. And it also means you can have more control and you can cap like how large it could be. The second is that crypto is programmable. It's not just currency. You can make a website, render a different experience based upon the number of tokens or the unique non-fungible token in your wallet, right? So crypto is software. And then third one is it's also instantly liquid. You could, sell it. Loyalty points can always be sold on the open market. And four, it can go up and down in value, if not have staking or rewards. There could be a financial component up and down. So I just want to recap why crypto is different than fiat. Not, by the way, not always better. I'm not going to be a crypto maxi. Fiat and crypto. That's what the world is about.
Great, thank you.
Thanks for the question, Mike. I think we're going to call it here, guys. It's been really, really great to have this discussion, and thanks again, Jeremiah, for coming out.
Great questions. You guys are so well prepared. You know the space. Real honor to be here. Thank you all.
Thank you again, Jeremiah.
Thanks, Jeremiah.
Based space.